And I want to welcome you all to our inaugural presentation of launching your first beauty skincare business. Elena has graciously offered to put together a complete presentation on the topic. It is a highly requested topic of information. So we're very thankful to her for that. But as we get started, if you are new to SCORE, I want to make sure that you understand the services that we offer. Our goal is to share small business information with you. And we do that in a couple different ways. One is through the information on our website, score.org, lots of great templates, articles, videos, blogs, lots of great information. I strongly encourage you to look through it if you haven't done that before. The other way we share information is through our workshops and webinars. And most are online. Occasionally we do get a few in person. And we do have a couple of really great topics still left for the summer that are new to us that we are trying out. So definitely take a look at our newsletter, social media. Our website is where you can find the complete listing of all the offerings that we have. The most important thing that SCORE does, however, is the mentoring. And our mentors are volunteers, and they come to us with many different skill sets and experiences that they want to share with you. Who are we working with? Who are our mentors working with? They're working with those that are trying to decide if small business ownership is right for them, those that are in that planning phase, and those that are already in business. And people come to us with a request for many different topics of business topics to get assistance, and we can reach out nationally if we need to, if we can't find someone at our local chapter, but we are determined to help you find the answers to your questions. A beginning session is going to be probably around 40-45 minutes. They want to learn about you. They want to learn what your goals are, what your challenges are, and they're going to work with you to come up with a plan to be successful. Our mentors don't always work alone. They bring in co-mentors. They'll refer you to other mentors. They will ask questions of other mentors to make sure you're getting all the answers that you need to, like I said, to be successful. So how do you get that mentor? It is so easy. Score.org, blue box, you type in your zip code and it'll match you to the chapter that's nearest you. They'll ask you a couple quick questions. There's like a free form section if you want to put in how we can help you, what your business is, anything that we need to know to help match you to the mentor that can assist you the best. So today we do have a plan on having a pretty significant crowd today. So we are going to utilize Q&A. So if you have a question for our presenter, please put that into Q&A and we will get those read out so that we can get those answered for you. We are recording, and within the next 24 to 48 hours, that recording will be on the score.org/Boston website. And you can see from the graphic, go to the blue bar, local workshops and previously recorded webinar. It'll be listed there. So I'm going to go ahead and pull down my share and let Elena get her slides up and ready to go. But Elena, you're ready to go. It's all yours.
Yes. Okay, great. Hello, everybody. And thank you for joining. I'm Elena Chernokalskaya. Thank you, Teresa, for introduction. I am a SCORE Boston mentor for the last 3 years. I'm also a PhD in biology. And I spent 20 plus years in biotech and pharma, running major R&D departments. But I also have my little skincare business. So this is the first time that I'm presenting this webinar. And if you have any comments, if you think something needs to be added, removed, if you just liked it or didn't like it, please let us know. It will be very helpful. But hopefully, sharing my experiences with skincare will be helpful for you to jumpstart your own businesses. Okay, so let's jump right into it. I've seen many different clients in the last 3 years which wanted to start their own beauty business. They all have very different ideas, sometimes brilliant ideas, but they all ask kind of a similar questions in the beginning. And so these are the ones that were asked more frequently. So regulations, how to formulate, how to package, how to sell, how to market, what do I need to know in terms of operations? And so I tried to package this all into a primer for you. It won't be deep in any sense, but it will probably give you some ideas in the beginning where to start and what next questions to ask. So let's go to regulatory considerations. This is very important. We don't want to break any rules. So, and starting from LLC, do I need LLC? I do recommend registering LLC. That will protect your personal assets. Don't register it while you're building your company. Register it when you're ready to sell, because LLC registration is expensive, $500 in Massachusetts. If you're not selling yet, you really don't need it. So, but do register it when you start selling. FDA requirements, European requirements, claims, ingredient safety. So those are the next important things to know. I know this is fine font, and I promise you my other slides don't have fine font, but sometimes you have to read it, and this is a case when we want to read this. So cosmetics in the United States, this is for United States, are not FDA approved, but they are FDA regulated. Okay, and so two major federal acts that you need to be aware of are Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act and Fair Packaging and Labeling Act. So those two apply to you directly, and you need to remember those things. Very important. So cosmetics, including skincare, shampoos, eye and facial makeup, hair colors, deodorants, and so on, are defined as products or articles that apply to human body for cleansing, beautifying, promoting attractiveness, or altering the appearance. So appearance is the key word, remember. So anything that alter appearance, okay? If the product is intended for changing body structure, function, preventing disease, treating disease, it's a drug. It is controlled and registered by FDA. You have to go through clinical trials, so you cannot make those claims unless you do clinical trial. Okay, so this is the biggest differentiation for you to remember. Cosmetics, beauty products, skincare, shampoos, they change the appearance. Drugs change function and structure of the body or prevents diseases. Okay? The FD&C Act prohibits marketing of adulterated or misbranded cosmetics. So that's another thing that you have to remember. So adulterated means that you made your beautiful serum and then came to the customer and the box is broken, or there is something growing inside, or it's spilled or whatever. So that's adulterated, right? So it didn't come to the customer in the way you formulated and built it. Misbranded means that you sell it as something else. So if you don't disclose the ingredients on the box, if you don't disclose where they should be used, if you don't disclose allergens and so on, that's misbranded. Okay, so that is very important. There is no licenses that are required to sell cosmetic products unless you're opening a salon. But those are two things: changing the appearance only, and no adulteration or misbranding. So important to know. There is 3 exceptions from that rule. There is color additive, fragrances, and SPF. And those things you need to know. So color additives are subject to FDA approval. So there is a list of color additives that can be used in food, drugs, and cosmetics. When you buy something from a supplier, they should have information if this color additive is allowed to use on human body. Sometimes they say it's good for using in lipsticks, nail polishes, and eyeshadows. Perfect, right? So that's allowed. Many of the color additives contain toxic ingredients and they can cause significant irritation. Fragrances are the other category that may cause irritation. And you have to, while FDA regulates them as general ingredients, you should follow IFRA recommendations. So IFRA stands for International Fragrance Regulation Association or something. So when you buy your fragrances, you also should look at ether concentrations. So every respectable supplier will have ether concentrations on the side, which will show what concentration can be used in any cosmetic product. Oftentimes, it's very low concentration allowed in lip balms, hand creams, eye products, and baby products. Understandably, much higher concentration could be used in candles and room sprays, for example. But it is important, do not ignore that information. And then SPF. So SPF is a very common question. Why nobody makes SPF products? Or why SPF products are not good? Or I am going to make good SPF products. Okay, so sunscreen is considered to be kind of a medical device, right? So because it prevents disease, prevents melanomas. So if you make a product with if you want to claim a sun protection factor, you have to submit your product for professional testing. So there are professional labs that will prove that your product actually has a broad spectrum UV protection. And you need to have that document if you want to sell SPF products. The fact that you have zinc oxide in your product, even in high concentration, the fact that your wonderful exotic butter naturally protects from sun and absorbs UV light, it's all beautiful, but you cannot claim SPF, okay? Good. So we're not in Europe, so I'm not going to give a lot of information on this, but Europe actually does control cosmetic products much more strictly than US does. They have a responsible person, so you have to submit a name of person who is specifically responsible for this product. You have to notify and register your cosmetic products in centralized database. They have specific rules for nanomaterials, and you have to report any serious undesirable effects. So if somebody has severe allergy to your product, you would have to report it to the government. So if you consider selling in Europe, you need to know that. So claims, fun stuff. So remember how we said, so cosmetic, appearance, drugs, function, and structure of the body. So when you put your product description and you claim that your product does something, there are things that you can say and things that I don't recommend you to say. For example, if you say heals dry skin, cures breakouts, clinically proven to do something, better than prescription in something, safe for. Safe for is a gray zone. Sometimes you can use it, but be careful. Protects from disease. No, 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 no. Alleviates migraines, for example, removes dark spots. Those are clinical claims, right? Because they're changing the structure or function of the body. What can you say instead? You say improves appearance of, you can say smooths and softens, you can say make skin look radiant, make face look younger, has a relaxing scent, may support healing. So you probably seen those claims which say may do something, may support whatever they claiming, but it's always may. So that actually tells you it's not a claim. Reduces wrinkles, lightens dark spots. So you say lightens is okay. Your formulation makes them look lighter. Your formulation does not remove them. So please be careful about that. Why is it important? So major marketplaces like Google, Amazon, Facebook, Etsy, they have engines running, algorithms running, which search for those words. And if they find that word in your description, they can ban your formulation, your product from their platform. They can shut it down. They will tell you to change the description, and it's going to take a while before they allow it again. So if you want to save yourself from that trouble, just when you describe your products, make sure they don't sound like a clinical, like a drug. Okay, so then how do you know which ingredients are safe? So that's another very common question. How do I know it's safe? Where do I look it up? Or other questions like, how do I know that the product is natural? Or my formulation, can I say it's natural? What does it mean organic? What is cruelty-free? So what are all those terms? So let's start from ingredient safety. So Europe does have ingredient safety database. It's called COSING, European Ingredient Database. Here is a link to it. You can take a look. By the way, in the end of presentation, I have tons of different links, which will be useful for you. If there's something not linked, I can send you the link. But you can look ingredient up in the European database. That's what I do because it's more strict. And if Europeans allow it, it's probably good, safe ingredient. It is fairly difficult to use because it's very chemical and just getting to it is kind of a bit tricky. But it's very comprehensive. We have another one, which belongs to Environmental Working Group, and it's called Skin Deep Database. And so that's a bunch of people who basically collected the information. They are very easy to use and understand. Is it 100% accurate and 100% comprehensive? No. Is it good for everyday use? Yes, absolutely. So use that one. If it says that it's, in 1 or 2 range, that's probably a safe ingredients. If it's in 3 to 5 range, there's probably concentration limitations. And then, if it's over 5, it's not a safe ingredients. Don't go there. What is organic? So organic is actually a USDA certification. So if you buy a product and it says organic on it, by ingredient, that means that USDA certified that company to produce organic ingredient. Remember that some of the small suppliers don't have money to pay for USDA certification, so they not necessarily bad. They just could be as organic as everything else. They just don't have a certification. But if you claim organic, that needs to be a USDA certification. Now, what about my formulation? Do I have to submit it to USDA? No. You can put it on your formulation if you use organic ingredients, if all of your ingredients are organic. Yes, say it's organic. People even do that when it contains water. So water, by definition, cannot be organic, actually, if you think about it. But people call organic when they have water-containing formulations if all the ingredients are organic. You also can get around it by saying 80% organic or formulated with organic ingredients or, formulated with organic butter or whatever. Cruelty-free, it's not a government regulation. It's handled by animal welfare organizations, so such as PETA and Leaping Bunny Foundation, and there's some other ones. I mean, seriously, nobody's testing cosmetics on animals these days. It's absurd, it's too expensive, and it's too difficult, and nobody does it really. But if you want to claim cruelty-free and get certification from PETA, for example, or Leaping Bunny, you need to prove to them that every ingredient that you use in your formulation was not tested on animals. So every ingredient. So you will have to get that certification somehow from your suppliers. If you go to some formulation houses, they sometimes can provide you with that certification as well. And then what does it call? What is natural? So natural is topic of a lot of different discussions. There is no good explanation what is natural and what is not natural. The closest to natural is ISO 16128. It's the international standard. It's basically also very complicated. So it says that the ingredient needs to be certain percent of it needs to be of natural origin, and then the other reagents that were used in its manufacturing should not comprise of more than 15% or whatever. It's very complicated. So there are some databases which list basically which ingredients considered to be natural, like glycerol is considered to be natural, for example. But most of the preservatives will be very unnatural, so you cannot claim them as natural. And so complex, but if you use natural ingredients, butters, oils, plant extracts, I think you can say that your formulation is natural. So there is no standard or regulation that you have to follow with that. So we're getting to formulations now. quite a few people ask me, so what do I need to know to formulate? But I also have people who already created their beautiful formulations. They created beautiful lip balms and, face serums and oils and so on. When you sell to customers, however, it's good to be kind of up to date on some of basic chemistry knowledge. Things like pH, solubility, viscosity, stability, miscibility, compatibility, interactions, and so on. Yeah, that sounds like a whole bunch of long words. If they sound all familiar and you look at them and say, yeah, of course, you're good, no worries. If not, there are formulation schools, there are places where you can learn online, and they will quickly explain to you what it means and why do you need to know that. You should be very comfortable working in a septic environment and creating a septic environment. So you should understand what is a septic environment. We don't make products in sterile environment. We make products in aseptic environment. Ingredients safe concentrations. So there are a few ingredients which are safe at 100%, right? So your mango butter, your shea butter. Yeah, 100% is safe. But most of ingredients have limits, including simple things like vitamins, right? So vitamin C over 10% will be very irritating. They need to, some of ingredients will not be stable at certain pH and so on. So that's a good thing to understand. If you're doing if you're making water-containing formulations, you have to use preservatives. So very controversial topic, a lot of discussions about preservative-free. If you think about preservative as something that stops living organisms from basically propagating, right? So it's bacteria, right? So we're trying to kill or at least stop them from growing. So it's not going to be something which is good for you either. But if you don't use preservatives, your product will be adulterated in use, which means that when people start putting their hands in your product, and many times they will not wash their hands, they will bring in bacteria and fungus and mold into your formulation, and things will be propagating there. In the best case scenario, it will start looking and smelling funny. In the worst case scenario, it will be invisible and people will be spreading it on their faces and bodies. Either situation is not desirable. So please consider preservatives. It's probably the hardest part of formulations because there's no perfect preservative after we decided to go without parabens and formaldehydes. The preservatives that we have today, they work only in certain conditions in certain environments. So you have to learn about it. You have to do microbiological testing to prove that your preservative is actually effective. And temperature stability, our products are shipped all over the country. And when they sit for a weekend in Arizona on a tarmac at 110 degrees, they usually don't come out of that looking nicely. So ship it across the country, see what happens, make sure your bottles don't leak, your packages don't break, your labels don't come off, your product does not explode because of a temperature change. I have a couple of links in the end of the presentation to good formulation schools. So Mary Rama at Humble Being Me is a great educator. She has tons of free YouTube videos that you can just watch and learn from her. There is a school, Formula Botanica. In the UK, there is Institute for Personalized Care in Australia. So there are good online resources. Some of them are free, some of them are not free, but you can learn all the stuff. It's not that complicated. You just need to know it. Okay, and with that, we're getting to packaging now. So packaging has actually 3 functions. It showcases your brand. It's your storage and shipping container and your source of information. Interestingly enough, packaging is always an afterthought. We have our formula, we know how we're going to package it, we even have maybe an idea of a label, but then it's like, oh, but I need a box that actually takes this bottle, and how do I ship this? Or how do I fit all the stuff on my tiny little tube? So first of all, it's your brand, right? So first thing that the customer is going to get out of the box is your product, your box, your bottle, if it's in a bottle, or your box, if it's in a box, it does communicate brand value right away. It's memorable. So we oftentimes know brand before we read what it is. We look at the box and we know which brand it is, right? Think about it. But the brand value, right? So are you natural, minimalistic, luxury? Are you farmhouse-like? Are you more of a luxury-like, Nordstrom-like? It will tell customers what are you about, and if it comes in a beat up package and the label is off, it doesn't create a good first impression. It will use your brand colors, fonts, and graphics. And again, first impression is important, right? So don't forget that. It needs to protect from leaks, contamination, breakage, and preserves your actives. So that's why we oftentimes use black bottles because or brown amber bottles, because they really protect a lot of active ingredients. But if you don't use them, if your vision for brand, if your brand image is different, think about if your package is going to protect your formula from being changed, right? And then the source of information. So those are the 5 things that you need to have on the package that is required by FDA. So list of ingredients, intended use, where is it going to go to? Any warnings, like usually we put in there, if you feel any irritation, do not use the product, right? But use it, you need to have it. Shelf life and expiration, if you have it. Many cosmetic products don't have shelf life and expiration, so it's okay if you don't have it. But if you do, if you have short shelf life, it needs to be there. And importantly, contact info. If somebody gets your bottle and they want to reorder it, hopefully, there should be a place to go to. If they have a question, there should be a place to go to. So don't forget to add all those things on your label. So now when you think about your lipstick tube and think, where am I going to put all this stuff, right? Yeah, it could be challenging. A labeling requirement, again. You have to have a list of all your ingredients in the order of dominance, and you need to use INCI format. INCI stands for International Nomenclature for Cosmetic Ingredients, I believe. So I don't have a link to INCI, but if you enter any of your, olive oil INCI in Google, you will get the INCI name for it. So use that. It needs to be in order of dominance. So if your first ingredient is water, then your first ingredient is water. Don't put it in the end of your list. And your letter should be not smaller than 1/16 of an inch, and that is 1.5 millimeters. It's very small, but if it's any smaller than that, it's considered to be unreadable. So think about where you're going to fit this. Some of our most beautiful bottles don't have room to put this information. And so packaging can be a real challenge. So don't leave it to the end when you're ready to sell. And it's like, what box am I going to put it into? There is 3 types of packaging. There is inner packaging, which actually contains your formula itself. And then there is outer packaging. Oftentimes, sometimes you don't. Like many shampoos don't have outer packaging, but many of our facial creams do have. So I usually think that, if I can't put my information on the inner packaging, I need to have outer packaging. It usually also goes better with, more luxury formulations. And then you have a shipping box. The things need to fit. So think about it. This is not going to fit in this, right? So your inner packaging needs to fit in the box, right? And then everything needs to fit into some shipping box. It could be a challenge. So that was one of the areas which I absolutely paid no attention until I hit the wall with that. It's like, how am I going to ship this? So think about it. Okay, then we're getting to more fun stuff. So the first ones were more of like, what do you have to do? What do you must do? Now, where do we sell our products? When clients come to me, it's usually, should I sell on my own website, or should I sell on Amazon or Etsy? Or should I sell on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok? I honestly haven't seen anybody coming to me with any other ideas, but there's plenty of other places to sell, right? First of all, Amazon has Amazon Handmade, so don't forget about that. So you don't have to be on necessarily Amazon main site. You can be on Amazon Handmade, which is easier to get to, and it's also cheaper to sell on Amazon Handmade. The fees are much lower. There are new platforms like Go Imagine, which is considered to be a main competitor to Etsy. It's still very small. The traffic is not anywhere close to what Etsy has or what Amazon has. But they're very focused on handmade, they're very focused on unique, and they're very focused on charity. So it's kind of an organization that makes you feel good about them. So don't necessarily discount them. But then there are other places too, right? So where else can you go, right? So you can go to retail stores. There are local stores or chains. There's local pop-up shops. There's arts and crafts fairs. You can sell in other retail stores. You don't have to necessarily get to Sephora on the first day. There are smaller stores. Try to get to those. Try to bring products there, right? Think about also partnering. So I was selling my products in a hair salon because my friend owned a hair salon. So I had my products in a hair salon. Can you put it in somebody's office? Can you put it in yoga studios, Pilates studios? Usually those studios are very open to collaboration. So yeah, you can partner, and that will spread the word. In the end, what you want to do is to let more people know about your product, because how good your product is one thing, but then if it's invisible, it's invisible. You're not going to get any sales. So get to, get to any place you can to show your product. And pop-up shops, art and crafts fairs, local stores are a good place to get your first customers. Alignable is a good platform. I haven't seen a lot of people using Alignable, but it's actually a very good platform. It's kind of a LinkedIn for small businesses. So many small businesses are there. You can get there. There's a lot of people who actually sell skincare products, but there's also a lot of people who run their own salons, who start their own salons. Maybe you want to collaborate with somebody and just provide products for their salons. So get connections, get visible, start posting. There's also subscription boxes. That's an interesting option that I actually found very recently, but you can create subscription boxes and sell them on CrateJoy. There's probably some other subscription places, but that's the one I found. Very interesting idea. Subscriptions actually are great because then you have kind of a steady pipeline of orders if you can build that. So don't limit yourself to, I will sell on TikTok, I will sell on Amazon. There are other places. Be creative about that. Etsy, Amazon, they're great sites. There's huge traffic. 2.6 billion people come to Amazon every month. Fantastic place to sell. But the competition there is incredible. So jumping into something like that from the beginning could be potentially very painful. So try yourself somewhere else before. But again, if you want to, and if you're brave enough to go to Amazon right away, try that too. That's fine. Okay, so get to marketing. So I'm certainly not an expert on marketing. We have fantastic people at SCORE who can help you with marketing. They will hold your hand and provide you with a whole bunch of ideas. And so just come to SCORE and ask for a mentor. This is something to just give you an idea. When I see clients, the first question about marketing is usually, how frequently should I post on social media? Okay, so social media is not marketing, right? Yes, we all have social media pages and we all post on social media, but really it's not marketing. You could do better than that. And I think in 2024, trust in social media is much lower than it was before. And I think purchasing from social media is significantly lower than it was before. At least among people I know, many of them have pages on social media. nobody said that they actually get any sales from that. So what can you do to get attention? Again, you need to bring traffic to your products, right? You need to get visible. So what can you do? First of all, I would test your value prop on focus groups. So whatever your story is, try to tell it and see how people react. Your focus groups sometimes become your first clients, first customers. Sometimes they provide you with the first testimonials and reviews. It's a very interesting way to bring people around the table, get little snacks or something and talk about your idea and get their feedback. Or just ask people, ask your friends, ask your relatives, if I were selling this, would you buy, right? Test your value proposition, very useful. Content. So posting a picture of your beautiful bottle is great, but it's really not going to get you sales. What's going to attract attention is informational content. People come to, people search online for information more than they search for products. Well, okay, I don't have numbers for that, but I feel like there should be more searches for information. So if you have blogs on your site, if you have tutorials, podcasts becoming a really great platform, not new platform, but it's becoming very popular. If you can create that content, people will find you because you have good information. And if they find you for good information, they may buy your products as well. So it's a good way to market. Discussion groups, definitely underused way of marketing. So there's a whole bunch of discussion groups on, Reddit, Quora. There are groups on Facebook, obviously, and we know about those, but Mastodon. So there's a whole bunch of discussion groups. There is nail polish discussion groups, and people ask questions. So instead of posting, a picture of your nail polish, why don't you just provide some information about your nail polish or answer some questions that people have and establish yourself as an expert? That also brings attention. SEO and online promotions, you will have to do search engine optimization. You will have to do online promotions that, you can't market anything without that these days. Testimonials are extremely important. Online, if you sell online, people can't try your products. They can't touch, smell them. So they will look at other people. What do other people say about you? Make sure that you have them. Make sure that you show them off as much as you can. And customization. So somebody asked me in yesterday's webinar on different topic, what are the trends these days? And I was thinking about it. And, during COVID, we all were in this self-care and wellness trend, which is still continuing. But I think the customization and personalization are so big these days, right? So think about, can you offer customized kits together? Can you put together something that has somebody's name on it, the special packaging, and so on? That's a big thing. It's a big thing on Etsy, but it's generally like very big trend. People want something special, unique for themselves and for their friends. So consider that. Whatever you do, create a compelling story and brand vision. So this is very important. I have people coming to me and telling me why they start their business. And the stories are fantastic. They're amazing. They're inspirational. And I would be like, wow, that's really great. And I'm so interested, and what a great idea. And then I see those people websites and they're just bland, they're generic. Why do we don't want to look like human beings? Be authentic, right? Why did you come to this? Why did you start this? What is your vision? What's your mission, right? I think authenticity these days is so rare and attracts so much attention. I wanted to give you 3 examples for inspiration. This is definitely, by any means, it's not the best stories and it's not the only stories. But if you think about what the story is, what are you talking about? So this is 3 of them. So Little Seed Farm, I found them some long time ago. They're all about their goats. So they have pictures of their farm, their goats. I mean, goat milk is used in skincare products for a long time, but their just whole website is just that farm feeling and pictures of their goats everywhere. You can't forget it. They're just passionate about it, and their packaging is farm looking, very rustic, very authentic, very fun. Pictures of people with their goats. I remember them. And, you know, their goats are 100% grass-fed. That's important for your skincare, right? So it's appealing story for me. I love everything farm-related, right? Isaiah has a different story. They started as a spa on a seashore somewhere, I think, on the West Coast. Their men were going to sea to get fish, and the women were collecting sea ingredients and making skincare, and they had a spa for a long time before they started selling online. Again, I found them probably 5 years ago. I still remember the story. It's memorable, but now they sell at Nordstrom, and their packaging is very luxurious. It's luxurious ingredients, and it just projects that, you know, we brought you very exotic ingredients from the sea, and they just going to work for you. And then The Ordinary, that probably most of you know, completely different approach. This guy said, we're not luxury, we're just The Ordinary. We're going to sell you ingredients, right? And so for people who don't care about luxury, who don't care about packaging, for people who don't care about 50 ingredients creams, they just sell ingredients. If you want your vitamin B, here is a bottle of that. And you're not gonna overpay for that. So I don't remember where they started, but I think they were selling on Amazon from the beginning. So, but you know, 3 stories that I just sat down and I remembered them, but make your story memorable. Say something special. Customer segments, how are we doing this time? Good. So not a lot of it. So the point is that before you start thinking about segments as in how old the women are, this is 18 to 30 or 20 to 60, right? There are actually 3 major categories. There's non-user, casual users, and super users of skincare. And 3 of those categories require absolutely different messaging. When you start thinking about that, you know, non-users are very hard to convert generally. Many of them are men, nothing, you know, against that, but men oftentimes don't use any skincare. There are some casual users that basically buy skincare in the grocery store, and then super users that actually read the ingredients. Think about how you're going to reach and who is your primary target. Okay, so we got to operations, and we have probably a couple of minutes on operations, and then we get to your questions. So this may be a discovery for you or maybe not, but majority of cost in your cosmetic product is going to be marketing. That's just the way it is today. Your cost of ingredients, cost of goods is maybe within 5%. You maybe another 5–10% in packaging, and then you're going to spend anything between 30 to all your profits on marketing. And that includes anything which promotions online. If you run it on Amazon, it's going to be Amazon ads. You run it on Etsy, it's going to be Etsy ads. Sales. If you go to retail, you're going to give, you know, 30 to 40% to retail. If you go through wholesales, you're going to give 40 to 50% to wholesale, and so on and so on. So in the end, your net profit, it can be 0, especially in the first years. It's very typical that you have maybe even negative net profit. It can be up to 40% for established brand that kind of sells itself. Now, with that in mind, let's look at realistic potential income. Again, for some reason, we don't think about it when we start the business, but if you take $50 moisturizer, your cost of good, let's say, is $3, maybe $5, maybe your packaging is $3, your sales and marketing is going to take 30, right? And so your net profit is $12 on a good day. You're going to get $12 from those $50 moisturizer in your pocket. So if you ship 250 days a year, that is basically all the work days. You're not taking holidays, you're not taking personal time. Every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you ship your products. At one sale a day, your net profit for the year is going to be $3,000. And one sale a day can get tedious after a few months. If you are at 10 sales a day, your net profit will be in $30,000 range. And if you're at 100 sales per day, net profit is $300,000, that's a multi-million-dollar business at this point in terms of revenue, top line. Somewhere between 1 and 10, you're going to hit a panic point, what I call the panic point. So all the cosmetic products have multiple ingredients in them. So you have, let's say you have 10 ingredients, you have a bottle, you have a box, and you have multiple labels. If one of them is missing, you cannot sell, you cannot ship. And so you will be waking up in the middle of the night thinking, oh my God, I think I'm running out of that butter. And I did not order it, and I have an offer, and I have an order waiting, right? In order for that not to happen, this is what I recommend, and this is what really helps. How do you handle the volume? It is high volume business. Even if you're selling one a day, it's high volume because there are many different things that have to come together. So before you start any sales, as you make your formulations, create standard operating procedure. It's a very simple, it sounds like it's something very corporate, SOPs, but in reality, it's a detailed description of where do you get your ingredients, what do you mix together, in which order, how do you package it, right? For each product. If you're making your products once in 3 months, you will forget what you've done last time, and you will start making mistakes. And keep batch records. Every time you make a product, just keep a record that I made it today, it looks good, smells good, packaged it, sold it, okay? At one sale a day, you probably want to start bundling activities and weekly rhythm. So that's basically saying, I'm going to be doing social media on Monday, making you formal on Tuesday, packaging on Wednesday, creating social media on Thursday, whatever. Don't ship on Friday. If you ship on Friday, everything is going to sit in the warehouse and who knows what's going to happen to it. So ship on like Monday. At 10 sales a day, you probably want to have very strict inventory control. And that's not just for products, but it's also for ingredients and labels and boxes and any packaging you have. You need to keep track of what you have and what you don't have. You will be at hundreds of different things, and very difficult to keep track of stuff unless you have good inventory control. Excel spreadsheet works very well, but you need to have discipline. And so start building it from day one. And at 100 sales a day, you know, you're running a huge business at this point, outsource everything. Some of you will outsource from day one. Some of them will outsource at that point, but outsource production, distribution, hire people to do that for you and focus just on business development. But this is your growth perspective. That's what you need to remember as you're growing your business from your first sale to multi-million-dollar business, hopefully. And that's all I have. And then I have useful resources for you. So ingredient safety, 2 database, learning how to formulate, 3 ingredient suppliers. Those are my favorite suppliers. You probably have your own ones, but not bad. There's few places where you can outsource your formulation and manufacturing. They will develop your own formula and they will produce it for you and package it for you if you want. And then color additives, FDA database, where you can find information about colors, International Fragrance Association standards. And yes, and that's it. And thank you. So I am ready for your questions.
Okay, we have the questions. And just to, because I know there's going to be a few of you that want those links, we will send those links out to everyone that attended today. So you will have that information in your email box. So, okay. How can you list your ingredients in FDA compliance without giving away any proprietary information?
Yeah, you have to list them, nevertheless. So how you created them and how you make them is proprietary, but what you used has to be disclosed. I can tell you that recreating somebody formulation, especially more complex ones, are very difficult. I spent a year trying to reformulate my favorite balm that I used to buy, and it's still not the same. So don't worry about that too much, but you have to disclose your ingredients. There is no discussion here.
If a soap has a fake fragrance, is it still considered a cosmetic?
If what?
If a soap has a fragrance, is it still considered a cosmetic? Okay.
Right, so soap which doesn't have any moisturizing or any other skin effects is regulated by Consumer Safety Protection Agency. They have not as strict controls as FDA, but if you have moisturizer in there, if you claim that this soap is softening or whatever, you have to go with FDA standards and you have to use IFRA standards. Even if you don't go through FDA, the Fragrance Association standards apply to soaps, yes.
Can I start a skincare line with no real experience in the skincare field? Is that reasonable?
Yeah, you can. Like I said, there's a couple of places where you can learn. Take a course from Formula Botanica. They teach everything from very beginning, how to store your ingredients to how to create very complex emulsions. Yeah, you can learn. Absolutely.
If you are combining several previously approved products, how does the FDA handle that?
If FDA handles it as a drug, if it's intended as a drug use, if it's cosmetic use, then FDA doesn't control it, basically. So it all depends on use. If those are previously approved products, then what are they? Are they drugs or they cosmetic? I don't know. I think it's a specific case that we could probably look into deeper.
Do soaps, handmade soaps with olive oil, qualify under the cosmetic? I
Yes.
saw an exception in one of your slides, but want to make sure if soaps fall or not under cosmetics.
Yeah, like I said, if you have any moisturizing properties in your soap or you claim that it does anything to improve appearance of the skin, yes, they qualify as cosmetics. But the thing is that even if you go with consumer safety protection regulations, the fragrance still applies, right? So fragrance still can be irritating, so you have to follow that.
Let's see. I've tried an oil skin that I have tried an oil skin that I made. I would like if there is a laboratory or if it is the FDA that could test the product and certify it for good to use. Is there
So FDA will not test anything. First of all, you can go to private laboratories, they will do tests for you. So good to use, you don't need to get any testing done if this is for cosmetic use. If you think that your oil has drug properties and you want to use it as, cure for eczema, for example, or I don't know what it is for, but then you have to go through clinical trials. And clinical trials are extremely expensive. I don't want you to think about it as I'm going to give it to a couple of doctors and they will certify it. No, drugs go through multi-million or billion-dollar clinical trials in order to get FDA approved. So don't take it easily and don't think that, I'll just talk to my doctor and he will tell me that it's clinically approved. It's not. You can say doctor's approved, yes, that's fine, but it's not clinical product. It did not go for clinical testing. It's not a drug.
how do you find a manufacturer who could produce your formula for you? And how do you find one that it local and what terms do I use?
Yeah, so if you're in Massachusetts, good luck finding local. It's not going to happen, right? So most of them are in Florida and Oregon for whatever reason. Anything I found were in Florida and Oregon. I have, I think, 4 or 5 links to formulators that I think are respectable and you can use them. And you can just easily send them an email to customer support and say, I have a formulation in mind, can you help me? And they will take you through the process.
Okay. Do you have to list all the fragrance components?
No, you can say fragrance. As long as it complies with the concentration regulation, just say fragrance. Except vanilla. So vanilla is considered to be allergenic to many people, and many people have allergy to vanilla these days, believe it or not. So if you add vanilla essential oil, you have to spell that specifically. The rest of them, I think there's 1 or 2 other ones that have to be spelled. Majority of it, it's just fragrance.
Okay. How are cannabis infused soap, salves, and lip balms regulated?
How, what? Sorry.
Cannabis infused?
Oh, so Yeah, I don't know much about that. I think it depends on the state. People sell it, but you won't be able to sell it on Amazon. Amazon will not accept it, for example. You can sell it on your own website. I don't think there are specific regulations for that these days. And then again, it depends on whether you use actives from cannabis or you use the like hemp oil and stuff. So again, this is one of those things where I would have to look into it and see
Okay.
what exactly from cannabis you're using, what fraction of cannabis.
Okay, so I'm going to answer this question. So Elena is a SCORE Boston mentor for us. We created this presentation because she is so overwhelmed with requests that she is book solid. So that's that question.
Oh.
Do you have any suggestions for how to find or rent space for an aseptic environment or equipment to produce at home?
So aseptic environment basically means that you just sanitized everything around you. So your bottles are at least washed in dishwasher at high temperature. You dipped all your packaging in 70% ethanol or isopropanol, which kind of smelly, so I don't like that. That you use Clorox and bleach to clean all the environment around you. So it's more procedures and workflows rather than specific equipment. You can rent a lab. It's not cheap, right? And if you rent a lab, you're still going to create your aseptic environment around you. So it's possible sometimes to create it at home if you have a little bit more space, but it basically means that you sanitized everything around you.
Is collagen a drug? Do you know?
Collagen is a protein. No, it's not a drug.
Okay. Oh, I have a couple questions on what is the name of your company, your cosmetics line?
Are we supposed to promote ourselves? This is self-promotion. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. It's
It's
been asked twice, so they asked
Or-
the question. I guess
called
that's up to you.
Terraflorence. It's called Terraflorence. Yeah.
Okay. What about startup funding? Do you know if there's startup funding for something for this type of?
I don't. So it's again, what's your story, right? So startup funding, you can probably find private investors and, charity funds and so on, but you need to have a story. Like if you're promoting something special, if you're building something different, if you're just creating a skincare line, no, I don't think it's easy to get starting funds. If you have a good cause behind that, then yeah, it's possible. We have people who actually help with funding and have much better knowledge of where you can get startup funds. So again, come to SCORE, ask for a mentor.
With your labeling, does the information need to be on the product? Can it be on the outer packaging? Can it be on a tag that's on the product?
Yes, all
Yes.
of the above. Yes,
All those things. Okay.
yes, absolutely. On the outermost package, they say. So if it's in the box, then it should be on the box. It doesn't have to be on the bottle. No.
I'm just scrolling through chat here to see if we have any that I missed here. So what if you have a formula that can be a multi-uses? How would you recommend packaging and marketing for that?
Oh, that's interesting, right? So you can potentially, I mean, there's like 3-in-1 shampoos, right? And body wash and conditioner in one. So how do they sell? I would have to look probably at like what specifically you're combining, because the interesting part about it that you need to find your segment, right? So if it's for mom and a baby, you probably will have to market it to a mom, but then it's designed for a baby. But if it's for mom, baby, and and a teenager, how you find your target population, right? Because you need to have your target market. And so what is that target market? If that is the same target market and they can use it for 3 different things, that's great. You just explain it on a label. If it's completely 3 different target markets and your formulation works great for all 3 of them, then you still have to do like 3 marketing campaigns, I would think.
I got another question about formulation and laboratories. I'm assuming that your question has been answered, Alfredo. If it hasn't, please resubmit your question.
Mhm.
Elena, can you say the name of your company one more time?
Terra Florence. I can type it probably, right?
Yeah, you could put it in the chat if you want to, or however.
Chat. Okay, let's see it. Everybody can see it.
Okay, I think I have hit everybody's questions. If there's any I missed, can you please go ahead and put a note into chat so that we can get your question answered? Because I know we did have a lot of questions submitted, so I just want to make sure I got everybody. So if there's something I missed, say wait in chat and then type your question so that we know to hold on here for a few more seconds. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and wrap up because we have hit the 1 o'clock hour anyway. I will send out an email with all the links that she provided at the end. And the recording will be posted on our website at score.org/Boston under the local workshops previously recorded. It'll be listed there. So we think we can get all the information that you need to you. And if you need anything else, go ahead and yes, it is recorded. I just explained where that's posted, so you have that information. And if there's anything else that you need or have any questions, you can reach out to me specifically at outreach@scoreboston.org. Okay, thank you everyone, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.